Welcome to the Get Digital Marketing Results podcast, where we give you information and actionable tips to grow your organization.
Hi, I'm Bob Clark.
And I'm Donna Botti. We're with Delos Inc., and we make the web work for you. In today's Tech News Tuesday episode, we're talking about tracking cookies, the new experience in Chrome, and why it might matter to you. After all, like the title of our podcast, the word is that the cookie's not crumbling after all.
That's right, Donna. Let's explain what tracking cookies are for those who may not know. Tracking cookies are small pieces of data stored on your device by websites you visit. They keep track of your online activity and help advertisers show you relevant ads. For example, if you look at a pair of shoes online, you might see ads for those shoes on other websites.
Exactly, Bob. But there's been a lot of talk about changing how these cookies work. Google announced a plan back in January of 2020 to turn off third-party tracking cookies in Chrome, the most popular browser. This would bring Chrome in line with other browsers like Safari and Firefox, which have already blocked third-party cookies by default.
Google proposed several alternatives to these cookies through their Privacy Sandbox initiative. However, each alternative has faced resistance from various groups, including privacy advocates, trade regulators, and the advertising industry. So rather than turning off third-party cookies by default, Google is now introducing a new experience in Chrome. Users will be able to choose their tracking preferences when they update or first use Chrome.
This change matters because it impacts how businesses can track and target potential customers online. Google will continue to develop its Privacy Sandbox APIs, and users will have some choice about cookies, but it's important to remember that this change doesn't mean that you should stop focusing on building your own list and customer data. This is something your business needs to do regardless of what happens with cookies.
Absolutely, Donna. Having your own customer data and email list is crucial. It allows you to engage directly with your audience without relying on third-party cookies. So, Donna, what's the history of Google's attempts to replace third-party cookies?
Well, in the fall of 2017, Apple implemented a 24-hour time limit on ad targeting cookies in the Safari browser. By the summer of 2019, Firefox blocked tracking cookies by default. Google, which makes most of its money through online advertising, argued that if they didn't provide a proper way to track, advertisers would use more invasive methods like browser fingerprinting. So Google introduced Flock, or Federated Learning of Cohorts, in January of 2020. This machine learning approach grouped users based on similar browsing habits. However, this approach faced significant backlash from privacy advocates, other browser makers, and regulators. Google then pivoted their Privacy Sandbox to the Topics API, giving users more control over which topics would be transmitted to advertisers.
Fast forward to early 2022, Google announced it would delay the removal of third-party cookies until the second half of 2024. However, citing concerns from UK regulators, Google pushed the deadline to 2025. Instead of waiting for this deadline, Google decided that cookies will not go away and to introduce the new user prompt about tracking preferences.
Now, Google hasn't detailed how this will exactly work and when it will roll out. Small changes in how Chrome approaches its consent choice system can have far-reaching repercussions for how many users choose to opt in and whether the data will be useful for advertisers. After Apple introduced a similar choice for users to stop app tracking, major social apps lost nearly $10 billion in revenue because most people opted out. Google has delayed making such a move to give advertisers time to adapt, but it seems inevitable that businesses will need to adjust their strategy. And that brings us back to why it's crucial to build your own customer data and lists. Relying solely on third-party cookies is risky. By developing direct relationships with your prospects and customers, you can ensure you have the data needed to effectively market to them, regardless of the changes in cookie policy. So keep an eye on these changes and adapt your strategy. That's the key to staying ahead.
And that's it for today's episode. You can find some links on this topic at delosinc.com/episode 356. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on our actionable digital marketing tips to grow your organization.